Thank you, Bulavinaka, and good afternoon, members of the media. Thank you for taking this time to attend this important news conference. The Fiji Meteorological Services has advised that the current weather adverse condition affecting the country is expected to persist over the Fiji Group until the weekend. Since then, the Fiji NDMO team has been working closely with our colleagues at the Fiji Met to monitor the current situation. We have also been in regular contacts with our 4 divisional commissioners. And as of this morning, I can confirm that we've received reports of flash flooding in the Northern and Western Division, as well as landslip along the Kings Road. No evacuation centers have been opened as of yet. However, members of the public are encouraged to access the evacuation center list available on the NDMO website should the need be to evacuate earlier today or if not later on this afternoon. As advised by Director Met, periods of rain that will be heavy at times will be expected to continue throughout Fiji. This is anticipated to ease from Sunday. Consequently, the risk of river flooding and flash flooding remains. Such risk is elevated during high tides, which will be at 4 p.m. today. With continuous rainfall recorded in the last couple of days, soil will be saturated and therefore the risk of landslide occurring remains. Strong and gusty winds anticipated over the land areas of Yasawa and Mamanuca Group, northern and western Viti level from Rakiraki through Tumba, Lotoka, Nandi and Lomawai, Kandavu and nearby small islands, Lau and Lomai Viti Group. Strong winds with rough and to very rough seas is expected over Fiji waters. Coastal inundation alert has been issued for the coastal areas of Yasawa and Mamanuca Group, southwestern Viti level, Natandola to Coral Coast, southern coastals of Vatulele, Kandavu, and nearby small islands, Lau and Lomai Viti Group, southern parts of Vanua level, southern Bua, and the Kaunrave province. The Fiji Met has also advised that as of this morning, most rivers have already reached or have above their warning level. Continuous heavy rain is expected to cause the rivers to burst their banks, and you can already see that in the photos that have been circulating on social media. We can confirm that rivers that have already burst its banks are Rakiraki, Nasibi and Tavua, Ba and Vitongo. Any heavy downpour will be detrimental to these areas. Therefore, we would like to plead with the general public to prepare now, and should the need to evacuate arise, please move while it is daylight and ensure that all movement is made with caution. Please remember that while we want everyone to be safe during such times, the safety of first responders is also paramount and important to us. In recent weeks, we've also noted a rise in fatalities due to flooding. We therefore call on the general public to strictly adhere to warnings issued by authorities. Stay away and refrain from attempting to cross flooded rivers, streams, walkways, crossings, or drains for your own safety. The Fiji NDMO met with the Police Chief of Operations this morning, and he has assured us that the police are on standby should the need for deployment arise. Additionally, police have also pre-positioned key strategic assets to members of the public on the ground, or in this case, to assist the members of the public on the ground. Furthermore, we've also consulted with the Maritime Safety of Fiji, or MSAF, and we would like to remind mariners to heed advisories issued by authority, as current sea conditions can be dangerous for small boats due to large waves and rough seas. Please refrain from swimming, fishing, or undertaking any recreational marine activity along coastal areas, as hazards breaking waves are also expected, therefore placing people's life at risk. Earlier this morning, the NDMO, following considerable consultations with the Fiji Met Office and through the advice of the Minister responsible for Education and Minister responsible for Disaster Management, Minister of Education, closed the school nationwide as a precautionary measure against the forecasted adverse weather. Now, I understand that has been some backlash from the general public about this decision. I therefore seek parents and guardians understanding that this decision was solely done for the safety of our children. The safety of all civil servants is also paramount. Upon consultation with acting permanent secretary for civil service, non-essential civil servants are encouraged to seek permission from their supervisors for earlier release. This is to allow them to prepare for their families, communities, and properties for the impending adverse weather. Other employers are also urged to do the same. On behalf of government, we plead with the general public to take the necessary measures to ensure that the lives of individuals and families are prepared. Families and communities are urged to prepare emergency kits and put into practice their family and community disaster preparedness plan. Take the necessary steps to ensure that homes and properties are secured. Ensure that members of the vulnerable groups are also well catered for. And should the need for assistance, please reach out to the Fiji Police Force on 917 or call any of our divisional emergency operations centers that has now been activated. Commissioner Northland's EOC 8811-322 or 8811-005. Commissioner Western's EOC 6660760. Commissioner Central's EOC 3477-000 and Commissioner Eastern's EOC 3313400. These numbers are also available on our social media platform. Pinakavakalevu, and I'll take questions if there's any.
You know yourself and which organization you working from the Fiji side. I understand the announcement that went up to the social media was at 9:30 for school. Why was it late? Because I understand school starts at 8. Was there any discussion to do with maybe last night or early this morning?
Thank you. For us to make such a drastic calls, there are triggers that needs to be adhered to. And as I'd mentioned in my brief, there was a lot of consultation happening from last night till this morning until that call was made. For us, it's easier for us, or in this case, I can comfortably ask parents to move their children to safety or take them back home. It's difficult to explain to public once we start losing lives. And so for that main reason, government has taken the precautionary measures to move. And again, like I said, these are upon consultations and the triggers that were incurred that made that call happen.
Christian from Fiji Village. What are some of the evacuation centers that has been established?
So all our evacuation centers are available on our website. That is accessible to members of the public. The plea from government is please move. You don't have to wait for water to start entering your home. If you see that you're in a vulnerable spot or vulnerable location, these evacuation centers are available for you to access and you can move. And if you need assistance with moving, our divisional emergency operations centers have been activated. And of course, Fiji Police Force on 917 will be able to assist.
How many days of food do the public need to take with them in case they want to go to evacuation centers? Or will there be any assistance from the government, especially when it comes to food?
Thank you. With regards to food, or in this case, this is something as part of our disaster preparedness. We advise members of the public, if you need to move to the evacuation center, at least take food that can last you for 2 days. Now, the reason is when water resides, the government officials then move to find out the impact that has happened on the ground. So that does take a while. And therefore, asking generals of the public, if you do move to the evacuation center, please take enough food that can last you for 2 days.
Since the contacts given are landline numbers, for those who do not have access to landline or funds in their mobile to call landlines, are there mobile numbers available for the general public to call in case of need?
So again, as I mentioned, 917 by police is free, and as well as NFA. So this is why we give out those two numbers, NFA as well as police, because members of the public can access that number.
And then from Fiji, just talk about the causes of flooding. Is poor drainage still an issue, and what steps have been taken to address this?
This is an ongoing discussions that we are currently having with Municipal Council. Drainage due to development has always been an issue from before, and even with measures that we've put in place, there still needs a lot of work done to further improve what we have done hence far. So it's an ongoing discussion. I don't have an accurate answer to you right now, but we hope that as we move forward, we will start imposing or in this case, start working to mitigate some of these areas that are prone to flooding.
In areas, in affected areas, in case there is an emergency of medical services, what provisions and what facilities are available to them?
What do you mean?
Like you said, for emergencies, people can call the Fiji police and NFA.
Mm-hmm.
In case of medical emergencies, what provisions are available for them?
So again, it's the same number because it's free, 917 as well as NFA. They take the number and they refer the number, or in this case, refer the case. If it's in a health emergency, the Ministry of Health will be alerted that there is a health emergency. The main reason why those two numbers are given because they are free and they can redirect the concerns once it's given to them. And also they assist with evacuation if need be for those that have called in on medical ground.
And this morning we had been informed that the Bar town has been flooded. I understand the Bar Mission Hospital is also affected.
Mm-hmm.
So patients from Bar Mission Hospital, where would they be moved to?
So Ministry of Health have their own operational readiness check or preparedness, what we call. There are provisions or measures in place that are alternative should the need be for them to move patients away from Bar. These are measures that worked on as part of our disaster preparedness prior to the cyclone season. So these measures will kick in if need be that patients be moved to a different location.
And since this has happened so suddenly, many people would not have prepared their food supply for the weekend. So are there any relief packs available for the affected areas?
Yes. Like I said earlier, government does not work alone. We work with our CSOs and our partners on the ground, and therefore through those networks that we've established over the years, we will continue to support the affected population.
Yeah, many times people choose to evacuate when it's too late. Maybe it's advice from if people could move, especially when they know every time when it rains and flood, maybe it's advice from people to move as soon as possible.
Thank you. Again, this is one reason why we issued the closure of schools today. So it allows parents to also not only move their kids back home to safety, but also enable them to cross rivers that are now bursting its bank. For our maritime members of our maritime community, it's through the divisional commissioners reach on the ground, through the Ministry of Itoke Affairs, the Turangani Koro, the DEC, through those established communications, informations are being issued for them to inform their respective community members.
You stated in your speech that the risk will be elevated at around 4 p.m.
Yes.
What others for the night?
So we are expecting high tide to be at 4 p.m. And with continuous rain and with rivers that I've mentioned earlier that are already reaching their warning level, this is going to be detrimental for this area. So as we speak, in my discussions with police chief operating officer and commissioners, they are currently monitoring these key rivers that are already reaching that limit. And if need be, there are provisions in place to enable them to move communities or individuals.
Yeah, we've passed around the midday now, and the flooding started in the western areas around 4 a.m. today. Between then and now, have any reported cases of injuries been reported?
Not that I have received so far.
Thank you, members of the media. Thank you.
Nakavale.